So today, my guest is Bryan Schlake, who is our assistant teaching professor of rail transportation engineering. And I guess we'll go ahead and get started with your introduction. Maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit first.
Sure, yeah. My name is Bryan Schlake. As JR said, assistant teaching professor in rail transportation engineering, Penn State Altoona. I used to work for this company here in Norfolk Southern.
Mhm.
And in 2014, I came to work for Penn State, and I've been teaching. This is my 7th year of teaching in the rail transportation engineering program.
Wow, 7 years. That's a
Yeah,
long time.
it's been fun.
Yeah, I just want to also mention that Bryan just got promoted to his current position, assistant teaching professor. So congratulations again,
Thank
Bryan.
you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yep.
wonderful. So not everybody out there is probably familiar with our rail transportation engineering program. And I thought this would be a great opportunity for you to maybe tell us a little bit about our very unique program at Penn State Altoona.
Of course. Yeah, we have so far the first and only Bachelor's of Science in Rail Transportation Engineering in the whole country. So we spend, it's a 4-year degree, and
Mhm.
students focus primarily on civil engineering
Mhm.
as a base. And then we have courses on railroad signaling,
Mhm.
mechanical operations, and train operations.
Mhm.
And then we also cover safety, and they finish everything off with a senior capstone project that kind of pulls everything together. So, yeah, we've had 5 years of graduates so far, and we also have 5 full-time faculty members. We just
That's
hired a new
amazing. Yeah.
person. So
Yeah.
the program is growing, and we've been getting a lot of research funding recently.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's been really fun to be a part of.
I know. And our program is also ABET accredited.
Yes, we did get ABET accredited so that students can, after they graduate, they can take
Hmm.
the professional, well, I guess it's the engineer and training exam, which allows them to eventually become a licensed professional engineer.
So that's PE that you're talking
Yeah,
about.
first they take their EIT, or Fundamentals of Engineering exam,
Hmm.
and then after 4 years of working in the industry, then they can take their PE.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Accreditation, the accreditation board for engineering and technology.
That's it. Yep,
Yeah.
Accreditation Board for Engineering Technology. So they'll
Yeah.
also do the accreditations for technology programs.
Yeah. So we, for example, have our own electromechanical engineering technology program on
Yes,
campus called EMET, and
yes,
that program is also ABET accredited.
exactly. Yep,
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you.
sure.
Now, my next question is, I guess your role in our RTE program. I mean, you obviously teach for us.
Yes.
That's your, I guess, core responsibility, but you have some other responsibilities too, right?
Yeah, so I'm also our RTE marketing coordinator. So focusing on marketing the program nationally. We do have students from all around the country. And so that's a big part of my job, is to work with our strategic communications department and donors and other
Mhm.
people to see if we can develop marketing plans and advertising strategies for the country. And then also I've been helping out with some of the K through 12 outreach
Yeah.
and our kids college
Mhm.
activities with that.
That's
But I
wonderful.
also am an advisor for our REMA student chapter,
Hmm.
which is the Railroad Engineering Club on campus,
Hmm.
which is a great opportunity for students to
Hmm.
practice their leadership skills and
Hmm.
organize events. So it's
Hmm.
been a lot of fun working with that group as well.
So ARIMA stands for American Rail.
Railway Engineering
Uh-huh.
and Maintenance of Way Association.
Oh, okay.
And
So
actually,
there.
this week is the national conference, which we normally take students to. We've gone to Texas and, or sorry, we haven't gone. We've gone to Minneapolis,
Right.
Chicago,
Mhm.
Indianapolis,
Mhm.
and this year it was supposed to be in Texas, but
Mhm.
because of COVID, now it's a virtual conference. So we're viewing the virtual sessions online this week.
Mhm. Mhm. How long is the conference? I mean, when does it begin?
It actually started yesterday and it
Oh,
goes on
okay.
until Thursday. So
I see.
there's some student activities and some
I see.
networking opportunities as well.
Yeah. I guess maybe it's helpful for it to be virtual so that more people can participate.
Yeah, exactly. That's the idea.
There's a little bit of silver lining here, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. And all the student and faculty registrations were free this year, which was
Oh,
a huge
wonderful.
plus.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The next question I have is I guess, related to our gift, a recent gift from Norfolk Southern. And we just received a retired locomotive from NS.
Yeah,
And maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
sure. Yeah, it's not this locomotive on the screen behind me.
Uh-huh.
Those are pretty new, but the one we received is it's called an SD60i.
Mm-hmm.
So it was built by General Motors
Mm-hmm.
in 1995. Well, actually EMD, which was a branch from,
1995. Okay. Yeah.
but it was built in 1995 for
Mm-hmm.
Conrail, and
Mm-hmm.
then Conrail was purchased by Norfolk Southern, and so
Mm-hmm.
Norfolk Southern has used it since then.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a big 3,800 horsepower, six-axle locomotive, and
Oh.
it's actually operational, but we received it basically without fuel and batteries, and so we're not planning to run it anytime soon. But it's going to be kind of like in medical school they have cadavers for
Oh, yeah, yeah.
um, medical students to
Mm-hmm.
study different parts of the body. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of what we're going to use it for our E students. They're going to get to open up
Mm-hmm.
the components. You can actually see something like this. Obviously go in the cab, but then they can open up these doors and see the engine. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you can see what I'm pointing to, but yeah, they can see in the picture behind me inside the engine, and we'll be able to see different components, what the
I see.
turbocharger looks like, and
Yeah.
what the engine
Uh-huh.
crankshaft and things like that look like.
That's very exciting. And I know you're gonna try to apply a different color scheme so that the locomotive can represent our university better.
Yes, we're getting all of our approvals right now for that, and hopefully by the end of the year we'll get a new paint scheme on that locomotive. Penn
Yeah.
State, Penn State blue and white.
Uh-huh.
So that should look pretty nice, and also be kind of a good marketing tool. Maybe we can get it pulled around the country or something.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah.
Fun.
And I guess the locomotive has its name, which is PSU 2020. Is that?
2020. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the redeeming aspects of this year. There's been a lot of bad things this year, but the PSU 2020 is one of the silver linings.
Yeah. It's a very, I guess, memorable year.
That's for sure.
And yeah.
Yeah.
2020 will be remembered forever, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. For better or worse.
And it's interesting, actually, 20 and 20. So it's definitely special, the number, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about the numbers.
Mhm. Your
Maybe
eyesight could be 20/20 too. So
that's true. Not mine though.
not mine either.
Definitely not. I
Yeah.
wish.
Yeah. Okay. I also know that you are running our, it's called Trains Lab. So we're
Yes.
using, actually, part of being in a particular domain or field is knowing all these acronyms, but
Right.
the acronym Trains is something you came up with, right? So,
Actually, our dean of research, Corey Griffin, came up with
oh, he did.
the first
Mhm.
part of it. I think I only came up with the last letter,
Mhm.
S.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah, Trains is our new lab down in the Penn basement, which is partly a computer lab, but
Mhm.
we call it the Trains Lab because it stands for Teaching Railway Applications Through Immersive Learning and Network Simulation.
Mhm.
So a lot of virtual reality and simulation
Mhm.
tools and equipment that we have there
Mhm.
to train our students on a variety of different areas.
Mhm. Yeah, and I know this trip was a while ago, but you had the chance to take a trip to Europe, including Austria. to visit some of these sites and take
Yeah.
these 360-degree videos, right?
Yeah. So that was, well, the original beginning of the lab was a donation. It was a grant that we applied for with the NRCMA, National Railroad Construction and Maintenance Association, another acronym for you.
Yep.
And so we got a $15,000 grant to purchase headsets. So we have a number of standalone VR headsets, and we have an Oculus Rift and a HTC Vive. And so then the idea was to begin creating content for those for that platform where students could take a virtual tour. And so we did a little bit in Philadelphia with SEPTA and filmed some of the passenger trains there, which students usually don't get to see those type of trains around Altoona. We also did a little bit in Altoona, but then we took a big trip to Austria, Germany, and Switzerland.
Right.
We had funding from Penn State, and we also had funding from, we had $3,000 of funding from Leica Geosystems for us to go and also visit their facility and create a couple of videos on their property. So yeah, we filmed videos in Austria on their passenger systems. We went to a hump yard, which is where they classify cars down a gravity hump. And we also got to visit a facility where they maintain the high-speed trains for the ICE trains and the high-speed German passenger trains in Munich.
Wow.
So it was an excellent trip. And also in Switzerland, we saw a cog railway, which is a different type of a railway system to go up a very steep incline. So that was a great trip and provided a lot of virtual tours. So then the next step was for students to process those videos and create these 360-degree videos that you can view, with your headset and look around and see what the scene looks like. But yeah, we've been using those in some of our classes now.
I see. So how, I guess, have student responses to those videos been?
They've enjoyed them. We have it on our available to the public as well on our Penn State RTE YouTube channel. So viewers can check that out. But yeah, our students have enjoyed getting a chance to see what some of them have never been to Europe. I had never been actually before this trip. So to be able to see what railway operations look like in another part of the world, they've enjoyed doing that. And also it's been helpful during COVID, where we have some virtual learning tools when we can't actually go, especially last spring when we couldn't do anything in person. So it's nice to have those tools. We also plan to use them for a high school summer camp that we're hoping to host next summer. And so that'll be part of we've just submitted an application to the FRA. So we're hoping we'll get a grant to do a virtual summer camp starting next summer. So yeah, a lot of big plans for the train camp.
So how did virtual summer camp work? Because I mean, in order for them to be able to use any kind of VR or virtual reality equipment, they have to have physical access.
Yeah, so our plan would be to actually ship students a kit that will have some hands-on activities, and then also maybe have like a Google Cardboard or a lower end VR headset that they could put their cell phone into. And
there's this thing called the Google Expedition, I guess, too. So
yes,
you could, it
has to be similar to that. We've looked at that. There are some railroad-related Google Expeditions, but a lot of it is more historical rather than kind of using the current technology.
I see. Great.
But I know you do a lot with
I'm
VR,
more
XR.
More into, I guess, innovative learning environments in general. And actually, we are finishing up our book on that topic, and it's about to be published with Springer.
Okay.
Yeah. So as soon as it comes out, I'll let you know.
Great. Yeah, I'll have to read the book and apply some of those techniques that you.
I'll sign the book for you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
It'll be worth something in a few years.
Yeah, I'm the primary editor, and then I have another editor.
Okay.
We have these chapters written by the experts in all those different areas.
Very cool.
So, yeah, it will be nice to have a book like that, I think, for many of us. And very happy to be able to share that with the
Oh yeah.
community. Yeah.
Are those some of the authors that were involved with the conference recently that you held?
Yeah, we did some workshops in the past. So the project, I mean, once again, we're using acronym here. It's called Xfiles. So
Okay.
exploring future innovative learning environments,
Cool.
Xfiles. So that
Cool.
project's been going on since, I guess, November 2018.
Okay.
And one of the major outcomes of our project is this book, basically.
Wow.
So yeah, so I mean, we're very happy to be able to publish the book finally. But yeah, it's been a long journey. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I would love to read that.
Yeah. I wanted to actually ask you a little about how your COVID-19 experience has been, because in your case, you're sort of also trying to leverage the technologies in your classes.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to hear that your experience is a little more positive than others just because of your familiarity with the technologies and
Yeah. Yeah,
the
I would
fact that,
actually say
yeah. Hmm.
I would agree with you. Yeah, I would say it has been positive. When all that happened last year, it
Hmm.
actually kind of happened at just the right time
Hmm.
for me. The classes I was teaching, we had a capstone class,
Hmm.
and our plan was to do a field trip and collect field data, and then the rest of the project was going to be simulation based.
Hmm.
And we were able to get the trip in just before spring break, and
Hmm.
we were able to do the rest on using the simulation software. The
Hmm.
biggest challenge was getting access to the software because
Hmm.
students could no longer come into the labs.
Hmm.
But working with our OIT department,
Hmm.
they made available remote access through PSU Web Labs.
Hmm.
And so students then could log into the computers in our trains lab
Hmm.
and access that software, the proprietary software. It's RTC, Rail Traffic Controller by Berkeley Simulation.
I see.
And so they were able to do that. The other class I was teaching was also a train operations course that was using that same software, so they could access it through Web Labs.
Mhm.
But the other thing we did was in the time that the students couldn't have access to the lab, I quickly switched over to a different software that was web-based, and they
Mhm.
were able to use that. And one of the groups for their final project actually used that web-based software, which they
Wonderful.
kind of had to learn themselves because we hadn't taught it earlier in the course. But so the students flexed and we flexed, and it worked out extremely well. I was very impressed with the student projects that last semester.
Wow. And
So
some
this
of,
semester,
you go
yeah, I
ahead.
was going to say this semester, all the RTE faculty are, as far as I know, teaching at least partially online, either in person or
Mhm.
hybrid.
Mhm.
And so our classes are very hands-on. We have surveying, we have soil materials.
Mhm.
My course, we're actually going and inspecting rail cars and going on
Mhm.
the locomotives.
Mhm.
So far, we've been able to do the labs in person. We're hoping that we'll be able to continue doing that,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we have some ideas for what to do if we have to go virtual.
It's week number 4, so
Yeah, getting
yeah,
there.
almost 1/3 of the semester.
You're
So
right.
good.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
far, so good.
So far, so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you again for spending some time with me today. And I
Sure.
guess I set aside about, 20 to 30 minutes. Before we stop, I just wanted to ask you if you had any kind of parting thoughts about the program or any tips for students or, or any tips for your fellow faculty members.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess my parting thoughts are,
Mhm.
if anyone's watching this from around the country, come join the
Mhm.
program.
Yes.
This is an exciting program that
Uh-huh.
is the first in the country. We've got students from all around the U.S., including California and some of the Midwest and Virginia and all around. We even had a student graduate from Brazil, and so
Mhm. Mhm.
it's an exciting program that is growing, and
Mhm.
the railroads are hiring,
Mhm.
even in the midst of the pandemic.
Mhm.
So yeah, definitely just another plug for coming out to Altoona. This is the place to be. As you can see, the horseshoe curve behind me.
I
It's
know.
one of the historic
We're
places
very
to be.
fortunate to live in this rail town,
Yes,
Altoona.
yes, it really is. And
Yeah.
that's the other thing that's really exciting
Mhm.
is that Altoona was the original home
Mhm.
of some of the very first research and testing that ever occurred on the railroad.
Oh, wow.
So they were inventing
Mhm.
new chemical compounds that were being used for the rails, and they were inventing new techniques for um, modifying the locomotives and for
Mhm.
installing and building track. That all happened in Altoona with the Pennsylvania Railroad. And now, however many years later, 150 years later, we're here with the very first program teaching students and involved with a lot of research um, to support the safety and efficiency of the railroads across the country.
It's
So it's just really
all
cool to come full circle.
coming back, yes. And just to also celebrate the history, I know you're running these biannual conferences, right?
Yes, that has been kind of slowed down with the coronavirus, but we definitely want to get back to the RRIX Railroad Industry Exchange
Mhm.
conference that we held.
Is it going to be this year or next year?
It's going to have to be in 2021.
Oh, 2021. Okay, I see.
Yep.
Yep. So
So,
you'll be busy.
yep, definitely a busy year. Lots to do.
But thank you again, Brian, for spending some time with me today. And I'm sure we can do this again at a later time. And until then, we'll have to say goodbye.
Okay, would love to. Thanks, JR.
Bye.
All right, bye.